The opposition leader Bill Shorten is campaigning on the issue of renewable energy, the key policy federal Labor believes it can attack the coalition on. But again, the debate has turned to the economy, with Mr Shorten maintaining his attack on Malcolm Turnbull's company tax cuts. Political reporter Matthew Doran is travelling with the opposition leader, and he joins us live from the University of New South Wales. So, Matthew, Mr Shorten says Malcolm Turnbull is misleading the Australian public.
That's right, Ros. It's a day in which, as you mentioned, he's been campaigning on Labor's renewable energy target. But as has been the case for much of this campaign, the focus has shifted onto the economy, with Bill Shorten outlining two attacks here. First of all, on the seemingly infighting within the coalition about Malcolm Turnbull's superannuation plan, with a number of backbenchers within the coalition getting a bit rowdy on that issue and saying that that policy should indeed be dumped. Bill Shorten says that he'd be very surprised as to whether or not would be very surprised if this policy lasted until the election. And then he's touched on the issue of the company tax cut again. This is a plan to cut the company tax rate over the next decade at a cost of $50 billion. And Bill Shorten has used the opportunity to attack that plan when asked about his own plans to keep the deficit levy on the highest income earners, those earning $180,000 a year or more over the next decade. He says that we are in a situation with the budget in which that should be the priority, not handing out significant wads of cash to the big end of town. Here's what he had to say a little earlier today.
Well, we've made it clear that we have several priorities of equal importance. We have rigid budget discipline, and we intend to make sure that we reduce debt over the next 10 years. So that is an absolute priority of a Labor administration if we get elected after July the 2nd. But what we will also do is we will drive real jobs, genuine growth through our prioritisation of education, properly funding our schools, properly funding TAFE and universities. We'll also make sure that we drive real jobs and sustainable growth through nation-building infrastructure.
Matthew, Mr Shorten is trying to pitch renewable energy today, but he had an odd encounter earlier this morning.
That's right, it was a morning trip to the Sydney Fish Market along with his deputy Tanya Plibersek. It's a tried and tested campaign technique to show up at a market somewhere. Both sides of politics often do this, but so they had a bit of an interaction, a visit from some members of the Chaser comedy group who left Bill Shorten and Tanya Plibersek with a pet rat in a container. They just left it at their feet and seemingly abandoned the pet, leaving the Labor leaders to deal with it as they saw fit. Here's some of that.
Rat, please. Can you hold it for me? I just want to pose with my rat. Look, my rat, thank you so much. Oh, sorry, I'm going to take a phone call. Can you mind it? Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take just what we wanted.
That's the incident a little earlier today. Now, the rat did go home with Tanya Plibersek. She is looking after it and said that she's also passed on to the waiting media that if anyone finds out who owns this rat, to pass on her contact details so that she can return it.
The rat seems to be in good hands there. Matthew, thank you.